The other day I'm walking my dog Simba in the neighborhood and I met one of my neighbors and he asked me what I did for a living. I told him I was a yoga teacher and he said, you know what, I never really tried yoga. I was always afraid to go to a yoga class. I didn't think I was flexible enough. And I said to myself, that's a good subject for a YouTube video. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jimmy Barkan. I've been teaching hot yoga since 1981. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and hit the like button if you're enjoying this video. If you're not new to the channel and you've been watching some of my videos, you probably already noticed we painted our accent wall. Some people say it matches my eyes. But back to you, back to the subject. First yoga class, what can you expect? So beside not being flexible enough, a lot of times people are embarrassed to go to yoga class. They don't think they're going to be proficient enough. So let's address that right off the bat. Nobody cares that you can do yoga or not do yoga. Nobody's going to be able to do yoga well on their first day, their first week, maybe even their first month, unless you're like a world-class gymnast or a world-class ballerina. There's a good chance most people are not going to be proficient at yoga, but the point is nobody cares. People are usually very tunnel vision. They're focused on themselves. The only person that's really going to care about you doing yoga well or not is going to be the teacher, and the teacher's not going to make a judgment. They're going to take you under their wing. Most likely you're going to be making sure that you're going to have the best experience you have. So don't worry about those other people. Focus on yourself. Don't worry about being self-conscious. Nobody's looking at you anyway. Don't forget, if you're enjoying this video, smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. You get notified when I post a new video. Now let's talk about the subject of not being flexible enough. That's why you do yoga in the first place. It's like saying I can't lift weights because I'm not strong enough. Well, you start out with a 2-pound weight and you go to a 5-pound weight and you work your way up the ladder. Same thing in yoga. You're going to start out stiff. Maybe if you're inflexible, you're going to start at a certain point, and each day and each week and each month you're going to improve. But that's how you're going to get flexible. In fact, I did a yoga video recently on how to get flexible in yoga, and one of the first things you have to do is not make a judgment about where you are in the moment. Some days you're going to be more flexible than others. Some days you're going to be stronger than others. Some days you're going to see people in the front row that are extremely advanced, which may be intimidating, or extremely flexible, and you say to yourself, well, I'll never get there. Don't worry about them. You focus on yourself. Find that starting point without judgment, and your only goal is to get to the next inch or get to the next centimeter. That's it. Think of a tangible goal. Don't worry about if you're flexible enough. Once again, nobody cares how flexible you are. They're focusing on themselves. They have their own internal struggle happening in that yoga class. So how do you benefit from yoga class? And here's a really important statistic. You benefit on how much you're able to improve, not about how advanced you are. In other words, if you're continuing to work as hard as you possibly can and continue to improve in incremental levels, you're actually having more benefit than the advanced person that may not be so disciplined, that may not really care about going to the next level. They may be a little bit on the lazy side. In fact, you're going to be having leaps and bounds as a new student because you're going to have breakthroughs constantly because there's nowhere to go but up. As an intermediate to advanced student, the breakthroughs are far and in between. So don't worry about trying to keep up with anybody. All you're focusing on is yourself and finding the next level, and you will have the exact same benefit reaching your next level as the most advanced person on the planet. That's the beauty of yoga. And the only advantage that the experienced or advanced student has is they just really don't understand how to work their body within the yoga class. It's like playing an instrument. You know how to play that instrument with more experience. You're going to know how to work your body with more experience, but be patient. It's your first class. It's your first month. Take your time. No expectations, no judgments. Now let's talk about preparation before you go to the class. What you should eat and when you should eat it. I believe you should eat a very light meal at least 2.5 hours before your yoga class. Let your body digest. Don't eat anything heavy. I remember I did an advanced class years ago. I was visiting Bikram, had to be somewhere in the mid-1980s, and right before the advanced class I ate a bran muffin because I was really, really hungry. I get to the class, it's like the bran muffin became whole again in my stomach, and it laid there for the entire class. It was the most uncomfortable class I ever took. So I'm saying eat something light, maybe it's a little bit of fruit a couple hours before, and that's it. Or maybe a protein shake or a smoothie, but that's it. At least 2 hours before, let it digest. You're there on an empty stomach. What should you wear? If you're in a non-hot yoga class, you probably want to wear some loose clothing. Here's a couple ideas. Here's a couple outfits. What people will bring in, something that's loose, that they can move and have more range of motion. You don't want anything that's restrictive. If you're in a hot yoga class and the room is going to be hot, in a Barkan class, in a Bikram class, in a hot yoga class, I suggest you wear not as much clothing, something tight to the body. Some men wear t-shirts, a lot of men don't. Bikram and I used to always wear only Speedos. The reason why is because Bikram Ghosh was into the bodybuilding world, and they would wear Speedos when they would do their poses on stage, and that's how Bikram started doing Speedos. I believe even Iyengar wore Speedos at one point. So Speedos is more of a traditional way of doing hot yoga, especially in the Bikram world, but nice shorts you can buy. They can be a little bit on the loose side, but not too much clothing because you're going to be sweating. What to bring? Most yoga studios will rent mats. If you're not sure if you want to get involved and you don't want to make an investment yet, you probably can rent a mat at the yoga studio, give it back to them, and you don't like it, you're done with it. You could go to Target and you can get a very inexpensive yoga mat. But as you get more proficient, I would suggest you invest into a good yoga mat because this makes a lot of difference when you have that really strong foundation. If you've watched my videos before, in the old days, they didn't even invent yoga mats until the late 1980s. So we did yoga on the freaking carpet the whole time, and we lay a towel down for the floor poses. But investing in a good, strong, sturdy mat will be an important investment as you get more into your practice. Some yoga studios use blocks and they use straps as props to help you get into the posture, to help you with alignment concepts, especially in a Iyengar yoga. So you may want to invest in a yoga block as well, but most of the time studios will have them there for rent. Make sure you wipe them down with some kind of disinfecting cloth though, that's for sure. So you're going to bring a yoga mat, maybe a block. Bring some water with you. Many yoga teachers will sell water, but you may not want to take that chance. I would say bring some water with you to have it. Now, many times the teacher will actually position you in the room if you're a new student or semi-new student. If they don't, I suggest you stand in the back middle of the room. And that's where I will position my new students. Back middle of the room, now you have a reference point because you do want to watch the people in front of you. I learned so much when I first started out in yoga by watching the people in the front row and trying to emulate their positions. So back middle is a really great position where you can watch people and the teacher can watch you. I suggest not hiding in the corners of the room. Don't hide in that back corner of the room so you can hide out, nobody will see you. Nobody's looking at you anyway. And let's say you're in the back right corner of the room. Sometimes yoga classes will make a quarter turn to the right, and now you're in the front of the classroom. Being in the back middle of the room, in my opinion, will be a safe, strategic place for you to watch and observe, follow along, and the teacher can keep her eye on you, making sure that you're in the proper position and also making sure that you don't hurt yourself. I recently did a video on working with new people in class. Check that out after this class, especially if you're a teacher. YouTube is a great resource these days. So if you're going to go to a yoga class, maybe the studio has some YouTube videos that you can check out and you can see what they're doing. And now you have a better idea what to expect. If you're in a Bikram class, they have an exact sequence that they do every single day. In Ashtanga class, an exact sequence they do every single day. So you can go on YouTube and watch and see, and you'll know what postures are going to be happening, and you can maybe even try them a little bit at home. But again, don't make a judgment, especially if nobody's there to really make corrections. No one's there to guide you, and you can see what's up. We start with the breathing exercise in the hot yoga world. In the Bikram world, they go to half moon pose. In the Barkan world and many other yoga schools and classes, they go to a sun salutation. You can see what that's like so you won't be shocked when you walk into that room. You have some type of expectation of what to do. But at the same time, no judgments. And I also suggest that you pace yourself, especially if you're type A and you're an overachiever. You may want to go too far too soon. If you're in a hot yoga class, you may get overheated because you're not used to exerting yourself in that type of environment. Many times in the Bikram world, they don't even want you to leave the room. They'd rather you sit down in child pose and catch your breath. So back to center. But I suggest pace yourself. There's no real performance standard in yoga. Like I said before, the benefit you're going to receive is how much you can improve. It's not about achieving the highest level of, you're not going to be able to get close to the advanced people in that classroom because it's a process. It's a process of discipline. Just like you're not going to step onto the golf course and shoot par on your first time ever. It's just impossible. So no expectations, no judgments. So let's sum it up. You're going to eat very light a couple hours before you go into that yoga class. Wear loose clothing. If you're going to a hot yoga room, wear something that's a little bit tighter. Don't wear too much clothing because you may overheat. Make sure you tell the teacher that you're new. That's important because then they're going to maybe position in the room. If they don't, stand in the back middle. Take water bottle with you, especially if you're doing a hot yoga class. Maybe bring a mat and a block, but they will have them there for you to rent. Don't worry about if you're not flexible enough, if you're not proficient enough. Nobody cares. The only person that cares is you and the teacher's going to care in a positive way. They're going to usually take care of you. But the main thing is, don't worry about if you're not flexible enough, if you're not strong enough, if you're not proficient enough. No expectations, no judgments. It's a one day at a time process, and it will and it can transform your entire life. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button right now. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you the next video. Bye, guys.